Hello, Keesha. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yep, I can hear you. Hi, I think we are live.
Yes, we are.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Clapingo Live. We're so excited to have you all back, and also a big hello to everybody who is watching us later and not live. So we're so happy to see you all here. We have a bunch of things we wanted to talk about, but we have a very special announcement today. But to find out what that special announcement is, you'll have to wait a little bit. So hang on. Until then, please put your questions, your comments, say hi to us in the chat. We're very excited to see what you have to say to us. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We go live every Friday so that you can be in touch and know what's happening. And there are lots of other things that we will be doing on this channel. So stay tuned. Okay. So, Shambhavi, I think Shehnaz is saying hello to us.
Yeah.
Hello.
That's what I was going to just say. Hi, Shahnaz. And hi, Khushbu. It's so great to be back. Even though I was just there the last weekend, but yeah, it's always great to be back.
Yes. Hello. So what I was wondering, when I speak to somebody, I always notice this with them also and with me, that sometimes I use the same words again and again. And I use, when I'm trying to say something, even if they're different things, I say the same thing repeatedly. And then I notice when other people do it as well. And I feel like I know so many words. I know so many words. I don't know why I don't use it. So I was figuring out how we can constantly remind ourselves so that we can improve our English and sound more polished. Sometimes we know it and then we forget it, or sometimes we just don't know how else we could express ourselves. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Can you explain this with an example?
Yes, I'll give you an example. Recently, I met someone. It was a new person who didn't really know me. And they were asking me, what do you like to do? Mm-hmm. So I said, I like to read. I like to watch this. I like this. I like food. I'm a big foodie, and I realized while talking to them, I think I said only 6 sentences, but I said I like in almost every sentence.
Yeah. This is also what happens in a lot of my sessions. So when I ask the learners, so what do you like to do in your free time and what are your hobbies? Oh, I like painting. I like dancing. I like singing. So it keeps happening.
Right. So, and then we notice it more. So I was just thinking, what are some other ways in which I could say I like, right? So I could say I'm big on food. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing that popped into my mind. I can also say
the simplest one could be I enjoy.
Yes.
So I like painting, and I also enjoy dancing.
Right.
So you wouldn't have to repeat I like.
True. And sometimes if there are 2 options, then you can say I prefer dancing to singing. I like both, but I prefer dancing. So that's a different way of saying it. Or I'm really into singing. I'm really not. But
really into or like really passionate about it.
Yes. That's something that you could say. And if you want to be a little fancy, you could say I fancy poetry, or I fancy going out for a good dinner or something like that. So there are so many words that we just came up with so many different ways.
This other one just popped up in my mind when you said I fancy, which is something that I actually use a lot, and I'm fond of. So I usually use this when referring to people. Weird, very weird. But yeah, I'm fond. I like saying that. So I'm very fond of so and such thing. So yeah.
Right, for sure. So even when you're saying it and you're saying the same thing again, you're trying to talk about similar things, we can use different types of vocabulary. We have a lot of people saying good evening to us.
Hello to everyone. And if you can also think of words that you can replace, let's say we were just talking about I like. So if you can come up with something to replace or substitute I like with, please put them in the comments. And yeah,
Yeah.
we would love to
Yes.
look at those comments. And
Yes, someone has said, I'm fond of painting. You could say that. So that's true. I'm fond of. So that's a good one. And that's true. And sometimes if you're trying to be dramatic, you can even say, I'm addicted to tea or drinking tea in the evening.
and if you want to tone addicted down a little bit, then you can use passionate.
Yes. Or obsessed.
Passionate, obsessed, addicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Passionate, obsessed, addicted.
Yeah. So you can say these things because it's always fun to be a little dramatic while speaking, because you don't like everything the same amount, right? You like something more than the other, something more than anything else. Like another one would be talking about habits, when we're expressing a habit. So you usually say, I dance. That's the simplest way. I dance every evening, or I sing once in a while. So you're talking about a habit, or you're trying to express something, but there are lots of different ways in which you could say it.
Yeah.
For example, if you're talking about something in the past that has already happened, you could say, I used to go for singing classes every day, or I would go skating every Sunday with my father, something like that. So even trying to express habits can be done in lots of different ways.
Yeah. In fact, Aslam just said, I'm really into dancing. I think you mentioned that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. Chandan says, I'm obsessed with something.
I think it's singing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Khushbu would say, I love dancing instead of I like.
True.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, you could even say, I'm crazy about dancing. If you want to really express yourself, you could say that. But these are all great. So guys, keep it coming in the chat. We love when you interact with us and give us your answers to this. But these were just some things. And I think, doesn't this make you sound so much more polished than repeating basic words?
Yeah. Or even, let's say, Keesha, when you're in an interview or any sort of a speaking test and you don't know an answer.
Right.
Instead of, and let's just say, God forbid, but you don't know a couple of answers. You might just not be prepared, or that particular thing might not be your area of interest. So how do you say, I don't know, so that it doesn't sound like you just
don't know.
You know nothing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
So what would be your suggestion of saying I don't know in some other way?
So if you're just trying to buy time and you want to hear the question again, or you're trying to frame the answer in your head, especially if English is not your first language, or you're just learning English, you could say, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you repeat that? We just have to be a little careful that we don't say it too many times, because then you will sound like you don't know or don't understand. But this can be like your cheat sheet, like a little cheat code where you can just be like, okay, I'm trying to think, but until then I'll ask them to repeat the question. So you could say that. Or you could say, or you could just be honest without making it sound like you don't know. But you could say, I don't have that much information about this, or I'm not very, I'm not very fond of this, or I'm not very informed about this.
Absolutely. Or even that I'm not sure if I'm the best person to answer this.
True. Yes.
Because that's just you being honest, and people love honesty.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you have the slightest idea of what is being talked about, you can just say that you can just say, based on what I have read, or based on my understanding, I don't know much about it, but from what I've heard,
what I understand. Yes. Yeah. That's what you can say, because you know, especially in a formal setup, when you're being asked a question, you can't really fake it, because if you say something which isn't true and they ask you a follow-up question, you say, oh, I love poetry, and they go, okay, so who's your favorite poet? And you're like, oh, I don't know any poetry. Like whatever you knew also will go out of your mind.
Yeah.
So that can happen. So it's better always to be very honest and say that there are some things you don't know. And you can always say you don't know and then couple it with something positive. That, while I don't know much about poetry, I do love music. So if you ask me about music, I can probably give you a more detailed answer. So I think the person at the other end will also feel, okay, they know how to express themselves. They know what they're saying.
Shruti here is saying we could also use as per my knowledge.
Yes.
Great. And according to me, also great. But I think as per my knowledge sounds a little more
yes,
yeah, like
for the situation.
Yeah.
We also
Dhanraj says, I have no clue. I don't have any idea.
True.
We would suggest avoiding that.
Yes.
Keesha, would you? Yeah.
Yes, it sounds a little informal and it kind of ends the conversation.
Yeah, and it also has a slightly negative connotation. I have no clue. Instead of that, you could try making it sound a little more positive.
Yes, I have little knowledge about it, or I don't know much about it. So that way, at least there is more conversation to have.
Yeah, or you can just tell them, I'm not sure at this very moment, but I can find out and let you know, or I can get back to you with what I find. And the best thing, like not the best thing, but one of the best things that I came across when I was preparing for an interview was that I want to give you the right information. So let me get back to you when I'm sure of it.
Yes, that's a good one. Yes. Yeah. That's a very positive way of putting it. And it also says a lot about you as an employee or as a person where you're trying to do the right thing, I guess. But we have a lot of comments coming in, and someone has said, Pradeep has said, I couldn't recall it right now. That you can't recall right now. Again, that would be something we would try to avoid. It depends on how formal the conversation is. Sometimes you can say it if they ask you for a particular detail, like a name or a date or a place, and you may not be able to remember that. And you could say, oh, I can't recall just now, but well, it was somewhere in the north of India. Or you could say, I think it was sometime around March 2020 when this happened. So you can say that you don't know exactly. So you can say that in those cases. However, I can't recall right now makes it may not always be applicable to the situation you're in.
But again, context is very important. Everything that we listed will suit more to a formal context. But if you're in a slightly informal scenario, maybe like in a speaking test.
Yes. Yes. So since we're talking about speaking tests, so I think we're halfway through our life for today.
Yes.
I think this is a good time to make our exciting announcement. Everybody in the chat, we'll do a little bit of drama. Everybody, if you're excited, let us know in the chat if you're excited to find out what our announcement is. If you have any guesses, then you can tell us what your guesses may be.
Speaking of guesses, Himanshu's written, your guess is as good as mine. I just wanted to point that out. Like it's a very good one, actually.
Yes, that's a good way of expressing yourself, for sure. But so we do have an extremely exciting announcement, and we thought we would come here and share it with all of you because we think that this might be extremely helpful to many of you. And Pradeep says he is excited. Thank you for sharing that with us, Pradeep. And Shambhavi, if you could tell us a little bit more about this announcement.
Yes, drum rolls. So after the immense love that we've gotten from all of you and the success of our Spoken English in Kids vertical, we are absolutely delighted to inform you that we have now launched our ILTS vertical. So this vertical will target all students and individuals aspiring to ace their IELTS exams. And yeah, we were just very excited to tell you that.
Yes. And if I'm not wrong, Shambhavi, it is already live, right? So
Yes.
they can go to, could you tell us the website?
IELTS.clapingo.com, but they can also access it through our main Clapingo website.
Great.
Yeah. So if any of you are preparing for IELTS or want to prepare for IELTS, you want to appear for the exam, we're there to help you.
Yes.
Exclusively for that. Even with our spoken English platform, Keesha, not most of the learners, but a lot of my learners were there who were preparing for their speaking tests in IELTS.
Right. So absolutely. So this is just going to be a little more focused to help you prepare for the exam, know exactly what you need. So I think this will be a little more focused to make sure that your specific band score can go up to your desired band score. So we're very excited for this, and we're hoping.
I love the excitement in the chat. Yeah. Everyone seems so excited.
Yeah. We're very excited for your support, your continued support. And this is just very exciting for us. There are a lot of new things in the pipeline for a lot of our different learners. We want to let you know that we listen. We know why you're here, what you need, and we're listening. And we're trying to my words have gone because I started reading all the excited messages. We're trying to provide everything that you need and want from us. So there are a lot of projects in the pipeline, and we're very excited to announce each one. But for now, it is our IELTS vertical, and we hope we can help you, and we know we can help you get to the band score that you desire. So that's actually the theme of what we've been talking about today. Polishing your English, not just for casual conversation or interviews, but also specifically for your IELTS speaking test. You want to sound a certain way, you want to come across a certain way. So that's something that we are very, very excited about. So
we have
thank you so much for the excitement.
And Dhanraj is here with a very cute compliment. You guys are speaking very fluently. Yes. I feel like keep listening to you. How can we become fluent like you? That was so sweet.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you want to know how to become fluent, join Clapingo.
Yes. That's 100% something that will help you. We've also learned through practice, and that's how we've gotten this fluent. So if you practice and you have the right guidance while you're practicing, we're 100% sure that you can become fluent, confident, and a very polished English speaker. So thank you so much for the excitement. We have a few minutes left in our live. So if you have any questions, we welcome all your questions. So we'll try to answer as many as possible. Before we go, we had a question about sentence structure from Seth. What should we do to make our sentence structure better? Usually he messes up with long sentences, and if we could give him any remedy for this.
I'm unable to find the comment, but yeah, thank
you. It's a little higher up. I just remember reading it. My favorite thing is don't make long sentences. I know that sounds like silly and simple advice, but don't make long sentences. It's not just because you will mess up while making them. The person listening to you can't keep track of what you're saying. I went for dinner and I also like to eat, and just keeps going. And the person listening to you has gotten a little confused and doesn't know what you're saying exactly. So that's my suggestion. Always avoid long sentences because you'll make less mistakes and it'll be easier for the other person to understand you. That's like a short remedy. Anything that you'd like to add, Shambhavi, to this?
No, I think you've said everything that I was thinking of. So
Yeah,
it's exactly just that. I personally, I'm not a fan of long sentences
true.
because even I mess up when I'm
Yeah,
trying to frame a very long sentence. So you can try and keep it. This also goes, I mean, this doesn't go for IELTS speaking because you need long sentences there and you need to
true.
extend your answer, which is why you require a lot of practice,
Right,
just so you don't mess up. Uh,
right.
so
I think for that, sometimes rephrasing the question you've been asked also helps. So if someone asks you, what's your favorite hobby? You don't want to say, oh, my favorite hobby is.
yeah,
But you could say something like, speaking about my hobbies, I'm really into water skiing or reading or whatever. So you rephrase their question in a little sophisticated kind of manner and you say the same thing, but that way you can elongate your sentences slightly. You can also use words like instead of saying and but, which we say a lot, we can even use words like however,
yeah,
although, though,
yeah,
yet. I haven't done this yet, but I hope to do this soon. So then when you use these words, they're actually connection words. They're meant to connect sentences together. So using these words will not only make you sound polished, but you'll be able to create longer sentences without making too many mistakes.
yeah.
Yes.
Someone here is asked. Now
Yes.
the comment is
Missing.
back. Yeah, but I think yeah. So Sunil is asking, can you make a sentence by using since time immemorial?
Yes.
Sunil, it's immemorial. IMMEMORIAL, but yeah, it's not in. So it's just maybe you were confused with that. So I was just clearing out the confusion. It's since time immemorial, and it
Yes.
just basically means something that's been happening for a very very long time. So
Yes. You can't remember when it started. So that's why
yeah,
immemorial. But yes, Swami has another question. That any suggestions to practice English speaking after our sessions? Like sometimes the amount of time is not enough. I understand. I understand. But if you do that consistently every day, if you have 30 minutes or so every day, we're sure it will help your English. But I'll give you one suggestion.
then I'll give you one.
Yes, so then you get two. But what you can do, this is what I tell a lot of learners to do, is that when you're sitting, it doesn't always have to be you don't always have to practice with somebody. As long as you practice for some amount of time with somebody, you can always practice on your own.
Yeah,
While learning a language, that's the only time it's okay to talk to you, when no one will think that you're talking to yourself and you look crazy. But that's the only time when you're learning a language, it's fine to talk to yourself. So record yourself or people look at the mirror and then they looking into the mirror and then they do this. But what happens is then you can't understand your mistakes. So you can record yourself and practice then, or you could just say it out loud, especially things in your surroundings that you see every day, things that you do every day. And it's okay sometimes, even when you're talking to someone who doesn't usually speak to you in English, say a family member where you usually use some kind of native language, but even then try to say the same thing to them in English. So if you're saying, oh, dinner's on the table in whichever language, then repeat it in English. So instead you say khana lag gaya, and then you also say dinner's
yeah,
on the table. So that practice, don't translate it, but just form the sentence differently but in English, trying to give the same message. So sometimes even beyond that, just try to say things to yourself, to other people who may not understand English. That way
yeah.
you have the confidence and you start thinking a little more.
And
Your
that's a great way to and that's a great way to train your mind in English. To think in English.
Think in English, yes.
So a lot of learners ask me, people keep saying think in English, but is it possible to think in any other language than your mother tongue? It is, if you make it so.
Yes.
So yeah, you just need to train your mind to think in English. And the other thing that I was going to say, that I also keep repeating in a lot of my sessions, is that please consume as much English content as you can. Anything. Read English, watch English, listen to English songs, podcasts, watch
Yes.
TV shows, read anything, books, newspaper, magazine. Make everything that you like, do it in English. You like watching cricket, watch the commentary, watch the channel
Listen.
where they are
Yes.
commenting in English. You
Yes.
like watching shows like MasterChef, or you like cooking, you're passionate about that, watch MasterChef Australia or MasterChef from other English
Yes.
countries. Anything that you like, try to find a substitute for that in English.
Yes.
So yeah, do that as much as you can.
That's true. So it's all about input and output. The more you put in and the more English you take out of you, it will just become a normal pattern. So that's something that you can definitely do. We have a question about how to learn so many words in English. How is it possible for someone to learn many vocabulary words in English? I think for me, the answer is always synonyms. Like we just said, instead of saying I like, you can use something else. I enjoy, I fancy. So that's one very quick way to learn more words in English, because then you already know how to use them and in which context you want to use them. So it becomes easier. So you're not just learning some random word that you may never ever need to use or want to use. So you use these kind of words. Shambhavi, anything else you'd like to add to?
I was just smiling at the very nice compliments that we've been receiving.
Yes.
I love Clapingo. Clapingo gives me the confidence of speaking.
Yeah.
And Seth, I love this comment. This comment gives me the confidence of just continuing to do what I do.
Yes, for sure. Even the next one with great suggestions. Yes, it feels great that we're actually able to help in your English speaking journey. I'll give you one more tip about how to improve your English vocabulary. A lot of times words have different forms. So, for example, approve. The noun form is approval. So we say approve a lot, but then we never use the word approval. So instead of saying I will need to get this approved, you could say I will need to get approval on this. So this way, so simply your English can transform almost overnight. So again, these are words that you will use in different situations. So take the same word, find out their adjective form, their adverb form, their verb form, their noun form. This way, 100% you will be able to speak differently, understand how to use those words. So synonyms and different forms. These are two ways in which you can actually use the vocabulary you learn.
But also, like, don't focus too much on learning vocabulary. Yes. I mean, learning, again, anything that you learn like on purpose, it doesn't, like, I'm pursuing history. I think everyone who's taken a session with me knows that. And everyone keeps asking me, how do you memorize all those dates? And I'm like, I don't. I read it like I would read any other story, and it just stays with me. So anytime that you come across a word, as I said, consume as much English content as you can. And let's say you're watching a show and you came across a word or a phrase that you really, really liked, try using it in your sentences, and then you won't have to learn it.
True.
You'll just know how to use it, and you just get habituated to using it. So never focus too much on learning. So people also ask me, how can we learn all of these tenses? And there are so many tenses and it's very complicated. Don't learn it. Just use it, and then you won't have to learn it.
True. That I think is some sound advice. when it comes to the English language, that there are just, the more you use it, you don't need to know the rules, you don't need to know the different grammar techniques and vocabulary things. You just don't need to focus on that. It's not important. It was important in school when you had to give an exam, and when there were questions like identify the tense or mark the adjectives, then that was important. But now it's all about practical use of the language. So
exactly.
yeah,
and that's also the idea behind Clapingo. We don't want you to just know and learn the grammar rules and leave it at that. We want you to use them in your conversations.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a great note to end our live on today.
Can I just give a few people a special shout out, because I love, like, they are so regular with our lives and they join all of our lives, and it just makes me so happy. And Himanshu actually has been saying hi for
hello. Hello, Himanshu. I think you had a couple of questions, but we'll definitely get to them next time.
Any questions that we have not answered today, please put them down in the comments of this video. Like, when this video goes up on YouTube, you can put those down in the comments and we'll make sure that we answer those. Himanshu, Pradeep and Chandan, thank you for being so regular with our lives and joining all the lives, interacting so much, being so actively engaged with the conversation. It's really great having you here.
Yes, absolutely. These are names that are so familiar to us now. If we go live and we don't see you, it feels odd.
That's true. That's true. Any of you don't join and we are like concerned. Okay, what could have happened?
Yes, and we hope to add many, many, many more names to this list. But thank you so much.
Thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you for tuning in for our exciting announcement and our live today.
And for being so excited about it.
Yes.
That was so heartwarming.
It really was. It makes us feel so encouraged and motivated to do more of all the things that we do. Please put in all your questions in the comments once the video goes live. We will try to answer all of them either in the comments or in the next live. Thank you.
Please let us know what you would like to talk about in our next live.
Yes.
And we'll make sure that we take it up.
Yes.
Thank you for joining, guys.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.